So, video deuce. I just wanted to say deuce. I remember in high school in America in the early 90s, dropping a deuce. I mean, we can all probably imagine what that is.
Swagger down the street with your red lips and funky beat. You better hold your head up to the sky. I'm gonna roll with you.
Till the day I die. I don't know why that didn't come through then. Anywho, we have some other things going on. I'm going to sit down and work on some stuff. I don't know if I can do it while I'm recording, but I didn't plan ahead, and that was silly. So, what is it? If you fail to plan, you plan to fail, and that's what I'm spending my time right now doing. Planning to fail, failing to plan, one of the two. There you go. I may or may not have fixed the problem. Let's see what happens. There you go. Working on self-loathing on your own. Try to observe your thoughts from the outside. My thoughts from the outside. Well, that would be what's from the outside. Mispronouncing stuff and stumbling over my own speech while having a shiny head. Yeah, they're my thoughts from the outside. Standing on the outside looking in. Whoa. Change the way you talk about yourself. You're good enough, you're smart enough, and gosh darn it, people like you. I don't know which people, but apparently people. Lower your expectations. For fuck's sake, I have no expectations. How can I lower them? I mean, I can barely get up in the morning without thinking, oh, woe is me. I need to put a bloody picture of that Eeyore. Eeyore needs to go up here, because I've been accused of that before anyway. My brother used to say sometimes that I sound like Eeyore. But lower my expectations. Jiminy crickets. Try to accept being good enough. Good enough. See, my brain doesn't operate on good enough. So when I'm doing my job, I do the absolute best I can. I plow through it. I get a whole bunch of crap done. I do a shit ton of stuff at work. I mean, like an absolute shit ton. I do lots and lots and lots. And the problem is I don't even get a thanks. So I understand your self-worth has to come from yourself, but fuck them. Try to say something positive to yourself. I'm positive you have no self-esteem. I'm positive you're bald and overweight. I mean, fairly vague stance. Yeah, I say all this in jest, and at the end of the day, these are not necessarily things that I haven't thought before, or that I haven't thought that I need to work on. So I do appreciate that. So let's actually have a non-jestful look at this list. Try to observe your thoughts from the outside. Yes, I always said that if I became rich, this is going to sound jestful. I did always say if I ever become rich, I'm just going to employ a personal assistant, but that personal assistant's job will be to slap food I shouldn't be eating out of my hand, to hold onto my phone so that I don't randomly pick shit fights with people on social media that I know is no good for my you know, the in here stuff, whatever that's called. It can't be a heart, because I'm pretty sure I don't have one of them. But anyway, I would just slap the food out of my mouth, slap me up the back of the head when I start saying derogatory things about myself. Who cares about other people? We're talking about working on yourself at the moment. What else? Change the way you talk to yourself. Pressure makes diamonds. I mean, pressure makes coal first and then makes diamonds. But even coal is a useful thing created by pressure. So some pressure's required in order to motivate, to move things. Like an internal combustion engine, there's pressure that pushes the piston down, which creates rotational torque in the motor, which then gets transferred through a gearbox into a differential, into the tires, and moves this big heavy lump of iron. It's pressure. I couldn't really explain the how electromotive force works, so I'm not going to. But you know, maybe one day I'll roast some toxic marshmallows over a burning one. Anywho, what do we got next? Lower your expectations. Now, it's not that I have no expectations of myself. I mean, everybody has some expectation. I expect that I'm going to do a fair day's work for a fair day's pay. Unfortunately, that specific expectation then relies on other people's input for me to get my self-worth. I had a deal with my boss that he would pay me a certain amount. Now, in 2 ways, he hasn't done that. One of them is, it was meant to be if I got my job done, I could go the fuck home. It didn't matter if I got all the work done for the day, in 20 minutes, I could go home. That's happened twice in the last 3 or 4 months. Then the other thing was that it was supposed to be X amount after tax every week, and I was very specific with the parameters under which those conditions were to be met. I have a giant HECS debt, which in Australia is a student loan, basically, that the government has, and that basically works out $50 a week needs to be paid off. So that means my income would have to be higher to cover that $50 a week so that I would still take home the agreed amount. But then he's even $12 a week off the amount without the extra money for the HECS debt. And I was very specific about this. And I don't bother arguing with him. I don't bother talking to him about it. But then we were also meant to get bonuses, you know, every time there was a job well done, blah, 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 blah. Now, in an asked about sort of way, there has been a couple of bonuses, but it doesn't make up for the fact that he hasn't met the expectations of the agreement that he and I have made together. So that's when something personal, when something internal becomes externalized by the extingent circumstances that I can't really do anything about. I mean, formally, I could just go, you know, fuck you, I'm not, you know, screw you. I'm not putting up with this anymore. I'm leaving. But the problem is we all have bills. So that's another external force that's causes internal fuckery. Good enough. Everything has a price associated with it. So everything in life has a price associated with it. So swallowing your pride and letting people walk all over you, the price is you might end up with ulcers, you might end up drinking yourself to death, you might end up going postal. Some days at work I understand why there have been so many people at their jobs that have just murdered the people at their job, or their workmates or whatever, or just killed themselves. And I can understand that how this pressure can build up in people and how people can be pushed into a corner because they feel they don't have choices. It comes back to what I was saying a minute ago about external things causing internal pressure. If you don't have a way to release that pressure, it's always going to cause issues. So, good enough. Yeah, but my good enough, say at my job, is better than most other people, but yet nobody else recognizes that. So do I lower my expectations of myself to the standard that everybody else is at for the same sort of remuneration and gratification that everybody else has? Or should I keep doing the job that I'm doing and just complain that I'm not paid enough and that I'm not adequately looked after for the service that I provide to somebody else, helping someone else fucking retire sooner and getting very little out of it? I don't know. It's a open-ended question. I'm working on things. I'll let you know what they are. But I'm also working on putting a garden in the backyard. So who the fuck knows? I turned into Joe Biden for a second there, except it was an actual sentence. I don't know why I was whispering. Maybe I should have changed microphones or something. Hang on.
Garden in the backyard.
Anywho, that was just quite silly. Say something positive to yourself. I don't know, didn't I do that jokingly before? You're good enough, you're smart enough, and gosh darn it, people like you. I'm sure some people do. I don't necessarily know who they are. I hope that my family does. Well, my wife's family, who are my family now. I suspect that my parts of my biological family just don't like me in any way, shape, or form. I'm not the person that they wanted me to be. I didn't, just get ship shape and fly right. Didn't pull myself up by my bootstraps. Anyway, who knows? So, even though this thing says working on self-loathing, I don't loathe myself. I just don't like myself. I'm just more disappointed than anything. Watch these TV shows where adults go, "Oh yeah, my dad never ever hit me. He just used to tell me that he was disappointed." That's sort of how I feel about myself. I'm just disappointed because I'm a little bit smarter than most people, far less conscientious than most people, so I've ended up in the situation that I am, and conscientiousness and intelligence usually go together quite well, but in me, through misshapen emotional upbringing and possibly some sort of ASD type spectromal thing. Yeah, I'm good at making up words today. Maybe it's just one of those things. It's hard to say. So, look, I'm okay. I don't look that old. I don't feel that old. My ass is sore because I was doing turfing, so my glute muscles are... So sitting down feels really good, and every time I get up, I groan like I'm 107 years old, and I want to quickly waddle out the front of my house and yell at the kids to get off my lawn. Get off my lawn! Anywho, that's all I've really got to say about that. It was just a follow-up on that thing. Please, nobody, please don't delete yourself. There's absolutely no... That's not true that there's not absolutely no, but if it's just an emotional thing, or it's just a period, if it's just unemployment or something like that, and I know there's no just about unemployment. You can be unemployed and be so skint it isn't funny. Message me here if you've got nowhere to stay, if you've got no roof over your head. I can't give you a roof, but I can give you a tent. I can give you some warm clothes, and I don't know, I can teach you how to rub two sticks together to make fire, although you probably need a permit for that in this day and age because governments are just fucking wacky. But don't delete yourself. There's a lot of emotional and mental pain, and there's a lot of anguish in the world, but it doesn't mean that you shouldn't be part of it. It doesn't mean that you can't provide a part of it. And I'm saying this as much to myself as everybody else. I didn't have any intention of deleting myself. I'm just, putting it out there. Yeah, that's all I've really got to say about that. If you can't be good at it. Be excellent to each other. Oh, don't. I'm not your